क्या कोर्स रिस्टार्ट
इंटरनेट ये समझ के साथ दिया नहीं चला इथे पड़े वो शक हो गया
Just 1 minute, guys. Okay, we're having slight issue. Just 1 minute and then we'll start. Just 1 minute, guys. Okay, we're having slight issue. Just 1 minute and then we'll start. Just 1 minute, guys. Okay, we're having slight issue. Just 1 minute and then we'll start. Okay, Tanveer and Akhil, you can start. We are live on YouTube, so that's good enough.
Yes, please admit Akhil. He's in the waiting room. Please admit him in the meeting.
Okay.
So I think will we start once Akhil joins? He's already there in the meeting room.
Just 1 minute, guys. Are you hearing my voice again and again?
Yes.
Okay, Tanveer and Akhil, you can start. We are live on YouTube, so that's good enough.
Yes, please admit Akhil. He's in the waiting room. Please admit him.
Yes, I think there is some issue with the network here. I'm trying to add him.
So I think will we start once Akhil joins? He's already there in the meeting room.
Are you hearing my voice again and again? Tanveer and Akhil, you can start. We are live on YouTube, so that's good enough.
Yes, please admit Akhil. He's in the waiting room. Please admit him.
Yes, I think there is some issue with the network here. I'm trying to add him.
So I think will we start once Akhil joins?
Geeta, Akhil's online.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry. There was some issue with my internet, so I had to reconnect.
Maybe you can mute yourself, Geetu.
Yeah.
So Akhil, I think let's start. It's already 4:11, huh?
Yeah. So, welcome to all of you to JK Arts Foundation Women's Day celebrations panel discussion. First of all, I would like to Wish you a happy International Women's Day to everyone, to all the girls and women and mothers and teachers and activists and artists and fighters and sisters and more. I will start with a brief introduction of JK Arts Foundation. JK Arts Foundation is an artificial intelligence driven, art focused education technology, not for profit NGO with a prime focus on providing a platform to children to discover their artistic expressions. We are determined to be collaborative, inclusive, and innovative to reach 5 million children by 2025. International Women's Day is a global celebration commemorating women's cultural, political, and social achievements. It's observed yearly on March 8th to highlight women's accomplishments, recognize obstacles, and raise awareness of women's rights and gender equality. It's with this aforementioned thoughts in mind that we at Jammu and Kashmir Arts Foundation are holding an online event to involve the women professionals and entrepreneurs for a panel discussion on women's issues. The event will not just commemorate women's achievements and progress towards equality, but also take stock of the gains made in this direction and dig deeper into the challenge. Jammu Kashmir Arts Foundation's virtual seminars are designed to maximize connections among the different stakeholders, policymakers, artists, and social entrepreneurs, and to act as a platform for spreading awareness about Jammu and Kashmir's rich culture and heritage. Another thing the seminars seek to do is foster partnerships, generate new ideas, with and between government and non-governmental organizations for the overall good of the women artisan community. Today, we have three women who will share three different perspectives on building arts-centric career. They will share their journey and some of the challenges they faced. Our first speaker is Virenda Dar. She is a lead vocalist at the Revisit Project, a jazz funk collective based out of Delhi. She holds a bachelor's degree in sociology from Lady Shri Ram College for Women, Delhi University. At present, she is a master's student of development studies at Tata Institute of Social Studies, Mumbai. Today, Virenda will share her views on gender equality today for a sustainable future. So without further ado, I would like my colleague Tanvi to take on the mantle. So he will be asking some questions to Virenda. Over to you, Tanvi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akil. Thank you so much for the warm introduction of JK Arts Foundation and the International Women's Day. So without further ado, our first speaker, Virenda. So my first question, Virenda, as the topic you already know we are discussing with you is your views on gender equality today for a sustainable future. So first of all, let's start with the challenge. So my first question to you is, what are the challenges faced by young aspiring artists?
Thank you for that lovely introduction, Akil, and thank you for that question, Tanveer. When you talk about challenges pertaining to gender disparities, right, it's important to historicize them. When I say historicize them, I mean to say you must understand the origins and the location of social inequalities and why they prevail. Okay, so I'm going to quote an anthropologist who talks about how gender disparities are essentialized into art, right? Into different forms of and manifestations of expression. So the anthropologist called Sherry Otner, they talk about how women are seen closer to nature because of their natural reproductive capacities, and how men are seen closer to culture and intellectual ways of expression, which again entails, artistic expressions too, because they're not bound by this natural obligation of procreation and compromise. Yeah. So even when there's a conversation about women and for women, we more often than not negate women. For instance, I'd like to quote an example from my own personal experiences. I am a musician and I am an artist. And there are times when I get late, in the sense that my shows end up getting over really late in the night. But I can't access the streets late at night. Why does that happen? There's always a colleague with me. There's always a friend with me, or there's always a bandmate with me. I've never, dreamt about even getting on the streets late at night alone, post 9 p.m. in Delhi, in a city like Delhi, And we have, the government talks about surveillance mechanisms. When I say surveillance mechanisms, I'm talking about cameras that have been built in Delhi. But are these surveillance mechanisms not gendered too? Are these surveillance mechanisms or cameras, are they women-centric or are they not women-centric? So there's a question, yeah? There's a question of women-centrism. Are these policies that are being rolled out by the state women-centric or not? And are the implications of these policies women-centric? So these policies and these social realities dictate my existence as an artist, as a musician. Yeah. Similarly, I mean, talk about curriculums at schools for students. They are gendered too. Bathrooms are gendered. And in this genderness of social inequalities, we must locate our womanliness, our identities as women in the intersectional framework of identities. When I say that, I'm referring to disabled women. I'm referring to queer women. Yeah, I'm referring to Kashmiri women who've been through conflict. Yeah. So what does art mean to these sections of the society? What does art mean to the marginalized sections of the society? And I recognize my privilege. I am a privileged woman who's placed in an urban setting in Delhi. And as an urban musician and as a woman who's privileged, I am facing a lot of challenges pertaining to, accessing the street, accessing venues. The venues that I perform at are discriminatory too. Yeah. So I think that's about it. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Very wonderfully said. My second question to you, as we are running, I don't know, short of time, but we have only 1 hour for 3 speakers. So we are very vivid of the time. So my second question to you is your suggestions for the young artists, the budding artists.
Budding women artists or budding artists in general?
No, in general.
In general, yeah. How to pursue art.
Yeah.
How to talk to parents as children, as young people about our artistic endeavors and artistic dreams. I've actually been there. I have myself had my share of experiences pertaining to trying to get my parents, around the corner, because you see, my parents they've had inhibitions about, what I just said, accessing the street, accessing the venues as a woman, as a female artist. So it's important for us to also understand where our parents are coming from. I'm not saying they're wrong entirely or we're right entirely. There are a lot of layers, right? So as an artist, as a musician myself, I've had to strive for a perfect balance. I'm currently striving for a perfect balance. I haven't attained that yet, right? I'm trying to get my academic records online. In the sense that I'm trying to maintain my academic records in accordance with my musical aspirations, which is what helps me create a consonance or balance, right? Because as a musician, if I were to quote about my experiences, music industry is not easy to navigate in or around, to be very frank, especially for women. Music industry has 3 components to it: the independent music industry, the commercial industry, and the wedding industry, right? And there are a lot of artists who derive their sense of livelihood through these wedding and commercial shows, right? But how safe are they for women? Yeah, there's a question of safety there. So young aspirants of music or art in general, if they want to take this up, they must have a sustainable form of livelihood. I usually recommend, investing in education, because education is not just about intellectual education. It's not about mathematics or science. It's about artistic education. If you're an artist, you must know how to invest your money. You must know how to save your money. You must know how to access your money. So how do you deal with this? You are an artist and you want to earn your livelihood through music, but you need to know how. So how are you going to derive the very basis of this how? You're going to do that through education. So what I say to young people who want to build a career in arts or music or any other form of expression, rather, I tell them that please invest in education. Education is very important. Holistic education is what I'm referring to for a sustainable career in music or the arts industry. Yeah. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, very rightly said. I hope this discussion and the answers by you will be very fruitful for the artists out there who are in this field. So at the very short end, I would like to ask you, how do you support the work done by JK Arts Foundation?
Yeah, so Geeta very recently reached out to me, and she talked about this initiative, which is the JK Arts Foundation. And I must applaud all of you for the commendable work that you're doing. Kashmir has had such a rich heritage. We've had Lal Ded, we've had so many beautiful Sufi movements in Kashmir. And all of these imbibe artistic expressions. So what this foundation is doing is just absolutely bringing this into the mainstream conversation. Yeah. Kashmir is so beautiful, and we must appreciate the beautiful about Kashmir, right? So Geeta reached out to me. She said, this is something that all of you are, starting off with. And she asked me if I would love to be the ambassador, the arts representative ambassador for the organization. And I did not even think about it twice. I said, please, yes, have me on board, because this is such a lovely opportunity. I would love to connect with the stakeholders. I'd love to be a part of an impact which is so grassroots level oriented. And we need more endeavors like these. We need more community centric development programs, development organizations that don't talk about mere policies, because real change is happening here. Real grassroots level development is happening here through art. And this is extremely important in the context of India. We really underestimate the power of art. We really do. Yeah. So this is just commendable work. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you so much. We are really privileged to have you with us as the art ambassador. So you just mentioned about the rich cultural heritage of Kashmir. At JK Arts Foundation, we have been writing research papers. We have been writing publications on the heritage mostly. Like we have done a research paper on this Pari Mahal. We have done work on Burzahama ruins. We have done work on Lal Ded poetry as well, and many other parts of Kashmir. And we are also into the Kani shawl. You maybe heard about the Kani shawl. Yeah. So you can check the website as well. We are working a lot on these topics. Thank you so much. Thank you once again. So our second speaker is Miss Chaitali Bhatia. Chaitali is a marketing professional in a fintech firm. She holds over a decade experience across large consulting firms, SMEs, and startups. An SRCC graduate, Chaitali holds an MBA from ISB Hyderabad. She's also a strong proponent of gender equality and women empowerment. Today, Chaitali will share her views on difficulties faced by the artists to build artist-centric career. So, Chaitali, we welcome you here on the seminar. So we would like you to start with the topic. We would like you to speak briefly about the difficulties faced by artists to build art-centric career.
Hi, thank you, Tanveer. Firstly, I'd like to understand, am I audible?
Yes, really sure, you're audible.
Okay, great. A very happy Women's Day to all the women here, and also to the men for supporting us in many, many ways. Virenda, it was a great conversation. It was great listening to you. And I've been on the other side of things where I kind of didn't take the career I wanted to take. And therefore, it's important to talk about the difficulties today. I think let me make it very relatable to all of you. Where does the difficulty really start? It starts with A, with you, and B, with the parents, in your homes, right? So with you, there are so many questions that begin in your head. And where do they begin? They begin with the measurement of success. How do we measure success as people? In this society, we measure success. The society is built in a way where we measure success with money or the power or many other things, how successful somebody is, right? Because of the way we measure success, sometimes it's very difficult, or very few people measure success by satisfaction. And not a lot of people, when you're young, you understand how you should measure your own success, right? How you shouldn't be measuring success by the society's measurement of success, and because of those things, I think there are the biggest challenges. One, you fight a lot of questions in your own head. Second is societal pressure and your parents and other people, how they see you. So how they perceive you versus how you perceive yourself. Third is you're too young to make any of these decisions yourself, because as Virenda said, you are not given the exposure or the education or even from the measurement of success, you don't understand how important it might be to pick up one of these careers, right? And the last and the most important issue is also the infrastructure and resources at our disposal to pick up any of these arts, right? Na aapke paas school mein exposure hota hai. We don't have that exposure in our schools. We don't have that exposure, very limited exposure in our schools. Imagine we don't have examples who we should look up to sometimes. There are so many such few people who've picked up their careers in any of the arts field, whether it is art or dance or any other field. And the people who've become successful in these fields are so few that sometimes when you see that my probability of success, the way society measures it, is going to be so low, right? And that's what deters many of us to pick up a career like this. And for me individually, I can talk. I'm a dancer. I love dancing. I love doing many other artistic things, honestly. I started a school, not really a school, but like a camp for kids where I teach dance. I still teach them dance. But the question arose between a passion and sustaining your passion through the kind of infrastructure, resources, monetary things, and the way I'm going to measure success eventually, and how is it that I want to see myself. And I knew that path A is going to be long, tiring, tedious, and I still don't have the success the way today I think I measure it. Partly content and partly like money, maybe, right? Or economic stability. And that's why I chose to back off from that path and pick up a path where I felt that I had more skill sets. And I felt from a societal perspective, my probability of success or succeeding in that path would be a lot higher. And also on a daily basis, you sometimes feel that you can continue with your passion, right? But when you start doing it and you start seeing the challenges the way Vrinda saw those challenges, sometimes you're like, hey, my country is not ready to let me pursue the passion I need to pursue. Because of some of those practical decisions, I also backed off. And therefore, these are the kind of challenges that any person or any artist, especially at a young age and at a later stage, would face. Have I answered your question, Tanveer?
Yes. Very vivid and a very good answer. So you talked about resources. I'm just pointing out some keywords, resources. So like we are conducted at JKAF, we are conducting online and offline workshops. So we conducted a few offline workshops in remote areas of Jammu and Kashmir, and some kids who were in the class 6th or 7th had the first interaction with colors. So it was very beautiful. I would like to share with all of you. It was very beautiful, and they appreciated our work, and we are proud to say that the work was very well appreciated by all the students and the faculty. So number 2, you talked about the yardstick. So my key takeaway is setting your own yardstick to measure success. Very, very beautifully you told that. And one more thing, it's not talking about the difficulties, but talking about the difficulties. It's as important as talking about the success stories. Okay, so Chaitali, you are a talented dancer. However, you choose corporate career. These two are totally different, one can say, on the other sides of the river. So what led you to this decision?
I think I partly answered that question, the first question, but let me just come back to that answer. It's your yardstick of success and versus the yardstick of success of this society, right? I think one of the good things I do is I come pretty close to, I think I would say I have a high level of self-awareness. And from that perspective, I think at a very young age, you'd start becoming mature sometimes. And by mature, I mean being practical or understanding what is going to be the difficulty that you're going to face 10 years after choosing the path, right? And therefore, when you're able to see some of those things and you're able to see the futuristic answer in terms of, hey, do I need economic stability? Yes. If I have the economic stability, can I create the resources to be able to pursue my passion at a later stage, maybe? And I was like, yes, it might be a shorter path then. Whether or not I want to do it, whether I want to do it on the side, how do I want to do it? I could do it in any which way. But the idea simply being that I have a lot more resources at my disposal to be able to pick up the passion that I want to pick up? Is this society, is this country going to give me the resources that I need to be able to become the artist that I need to be? Are they going to be able to see me as the artist I want to see myself as? Am I going to get this society's respect the way maybe it happens in the West, or maybe not even it happens in the West today? I would like to see me as a certain kind of an artist. I would like to be respected in certain ways. I would like to have a lot more knowledge and resources at my disposal. And none of them, when I get an answer as no, 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 and my probability of success after I reach at some of this point is so low, is when I decide that, okay, what are the other strengths that I have? Can I use this creativity in some other areas? So yes, sometimes I do realize that creative people, one of the biggest problems that they face in a corporate world is the corporate world has a setup. And creative people don't believe in a setup. We want to be set free. There used to be times I was working at an organization, the first organization, and I was constantly thinking dance steps while doing my work. Every alley I could see and I could imagine a step. This is what I could do from here. Moving to the washroom, I would imagine certain kind of steps. Like every minute there is a song playing in my head and I'm like, hey, I can do this better. Hey, I can improvise on this. And slowly you get habituated to either this environment or that environment. And that's why I remember like 1 or 2 firms initially, I also ended up escaping from them, saying, hey, no, I want to pursue my art. And slowly and steadily, when you start gaining an understanding of all of the decisions, the other tick marks that I was talking about, what after 10 years of my path, what is my future path going to be? Is it going to be as an artist? Is it still going to be like a businesswoman and an artist? And a lot of our paths come to a place where it is a businesswoman plus artist, right? For you to be economically stable and for you to have that financial stability in your home. So because of these reasons, I think I chose the path that I chose. Honestly, I'm very happy today because I've been able to find a path where my creative and my corporate side are merging together, and I'm able to get the kind of success that I believe I want to have from myself, right? The way I look at success. It gives me contentment. It gives me the financial stability. It gives me the opportunity to raise my voice or to voice my opinions out at a platform like this. Maybe if I was still a struggling artist, I wouldn't even have gotten this platform, right? So sometimes it gives you the opportunities that you don't think you'll get in some other places, and therefore the path.
Thank you so much. So JKAF is working similar on a program which Unleash Your Inner Artist. So we hope that we will succeed in this mission. Huh? So
Lovely, Tanveer. Even in fact, the earlier thing that you said, I felt that a moment where you made people work with crayons for the first time, right? Those kids. I think it must have been the emotion. And I feel that I hope, at grassroots level, where there are people who have access to arts and art-related education, and more organizations like you should come up and do some of this.
Yes, for sure. We'll do up the good work and we'll continue this.
Yeah.
So my second question to you is, this is basically a suggestion for parents whose children want to build arts and focused careers. So I don't think there's a better person than you to answer this question.
Oh, great. So I think the way Virenda said, let's go back to our history and some of those things. I think one of the things that parents should be doing before I say what they should be doing is what they don't have. What they don't have is the exposure. What they don't have is the training. And what they fear for their children is the kind of answers I gave. They fear that my child is going to, when they're 10 years, 20 years ahead of the line, my child is going to measure success the way I measured success. And when my child is going to measure success in terms of financial benefits they're getting or the power they have, if not, they will measure success with contentment, then they're going to be at the same place where some of our artist friends must have been. And I want my child to be going through this. But I think there are many opportunities today. We are at a place where the world and our society and our country is evolving, and evolving beautifully for that matter. I think there are a lot more examples of people succeeding in the arts that they are picking up. and succeeding in various metrics. There are people who are succeeding in terms of financial metrics. There are people succeeding in terms of the individual success, and they're highly self-aware and extremely happy about wherever they're at. They're not measuring their success with the power or the money that it brings, and therefore they're extremely content and successful at what they are doing because they have that art. So as parents, the first thing they should do is, because as a country we're not able to provide the exposure or learning, maybe they should step up and learn some of these things themselves. Maybe they should talk to their friends. Maybe they should have an open mind, have some kind of a discussion or debate with their child to even understand where they are coming from. Point number 2, you have to open up your child in the school. You have to identify what are the creative sides of your children back in school and try to hone those, by supporting them in multiple ways. You don't have to say as a parent that, hey, if you're going to be a creative person, you're not going to do well in your studies. If you're not going to do well in your studies, you're not going to do well in your life. No, that's not true. I have seen a lot of people who've been extremely creative in school, may not have fared well in their education in school, are doing extremely well in the corporate world. I think that choice of what career to pursue as a child should be a child's decision. But a parent should be a supporting arm, should be an arm where they kind of understand the child, support them, give them the right set of questions and answers, give them all the information they need to pick that decision. Help them understand how to measure their own success. Help them understand what are going to be the challenges 10 years ahead and what could be the successes. And then let your child make a decision. Even if the child is failing at their decision, still support them and say them, hey, whatever your decision is, we are there with you. Maybe we could work this out in a different way. Maybe now you want to go to something else, and that's all right. I think in our country or in this world sometimes, or in the society, let me say it that way, we see failure also as a problem. I don't see it as a problem. And I think whether educated minded people who are educated and who understand all of this don't need to see failures as a big deal. They are stepping stones. You will not be an overnight success without a failure, no matter what stream you pick up, whether it's corporate world, whether it's art. So what parents should understand is your child's journey is going to be their own journey, not yours. You have walked your path the way you did. You had your set of challenges. You had your own set of societal pressures. Now it's your child's journey, and your child will develop in the best way if you let them be that supportive arm and not become your child and not step into their shoes. And those are the kind of suggestions I would like to give to the parent, that don't be a protective shell, but be that supporting arm. If you think your child is falling, go help them. Sometimes let them fall, help them take a decision and give them the resources they need to pick that decision, and whatever resources are at your disposal. And one of the biggest resources that you have as a parent at your disposal is exposure, understanding, knowledge. Give them the knowledge they need. You don't always have to give them the money. Sometimes you need to help them figure out the resources that might already be there. Give them that support. Those are the kind of points I would say to parents.
Such a wonderful note. So parents should take a strong note of the valuable points mentioned and discussed by you. I hope this will help parents a lot, and even the artists. And maybe I think we should have more movies in Bollywood like Three Idiots. Maybe we should have a movie like you said, Supporting Arm. Maybe we have a director who will release this kind of movie.
No, just FYI, since we're talking about this, the time I left my second job, my dad was like, I shouldn't have shown you Three Idiots. It was nowhere related to that decision. I don't know how it happened, but I was pretty sure I can't do this as of today, right? So even if you say there will be more movies like Three Idiots, our parents are going to come back and say, this is why you're doing this. By the way, that's not real life. So yeah, I totally agree. There should be a lot more movies. There should be a lot more exposure. There should also be a lot, and parents should have an open mind.
Thank you so much. Thank you once again for the very warm discussion. So at the end, I would like to ask you the work and rate or work at the JK Arts Foundation.
So, Tanveer, I think you added some of the points while I was talking about it. And I think I'm extremely, extremely happy, proud, and elated at the kind of work that the founder, Geeta, who I know closely, and all of you guys as a team are doing at JK Arts Foundation. And the reason I say it is, A, bringing arts and technology together, and B, taking it to the grassroots level, taking it to the people who need to now take that decision, right? And taking it to a marginalized set of community where they may not have that kind of resources so easily, right? Like Vrinda said, we are a lot more privileged today. You know, we're born, brought up in Delhi. We have the kind of resources. Still, you know, I think schools can be doing that job. But as a non-profit, the kind of job that you guys are doing, taking it to the kind of places that I spoke about is amazing. And I think you should keep doing that work. I think I've seen the founder's journey, and I think all of you guys might have a very similar journey where it's long, tedious. Sometimes the results are not going to be right there. Sometimes all you have to do is fight and struggle, and the result might be like a very little thing, but fight for it. I think if your mind says that this needs to be done, and if your heart says that you're going to be content with that result, then fight for it and go that path. And I'm glad you guys are doing all of it. So great work there.
Thank you so much. At JK Arts Foundation, we are a very optimistic team and we hope we'll succeed in this mission.
You will definitely, you guys, the way you guys are as a team, you will definitely succeed. I hope the same, and I wish the same to you guys.
Thank you once again. Thank you. So with this, we have our last speaker, Mansha Sani. So Mansha Sani is someone who's working in art-centric fashion industry. She's a fashion designer and head of department couture at Tarun Tahilani. Tarun
Yes.
Tahilani, as all of you might be knowing, a globally acclaimed fashion designer. So today Mansha will share with us contribution of women to arts industry over the generations. So Mansha, I would like to ask you to share with us the challenge women face working in arts industry or fashion industry.
Thank you, Tanveer. Thank you for that introduction, and happy Women's Day, everyone. And thank you, Tanveer, Akil. You guys are doing a great job. I personally feel the discourse around the challenges faced by women is largely focused on the role of men, and women are usually denied any recognition of this contribution. I guess, like working in an industry, working in a factory, their talent is no way less inferior to members of the opposite sex, I would say. Girls in general, like I see it at home, I have a young niece, Inayat, and I have many young, I have my cousins and their daughters. They naturally, I feel, artistic. They might not show it on paper, they might show it in the form of dance, they might show it in the form of music. However, like Chaitali shows it in the form of dance. I've seen her since childhood. Like she's always been on her toes, dancing away. But I feel their talents are put to test every day. Women are told to keep their emotions in control. I see at work sometimes, the labor faces, they have abusive husbands, they break down at work. And they're asked to keep their emotions in control and get back to work by the supervisors because the men do not understand that. So I feel that there's a lot that they under they kind of go through, which is not weighed. So that's one of the points. This restraint that the emotions are meant to be controlled at work, invariably I feel it affects their art. I see it at work. Like I see their speed, and I see their speed on the days when they're abused that night or the previous day or whatever. Like the challenges they face at home, like whether it's the unmarried girls, their parents are not letting them come to work, whether it's the married women, their husbands are not letting them come to work, or their in-laws, whatever it is. So I see it every single day, and I try to support as much as I can. Men, to some extent, are able to excel over women, even in the art world, because of the support I feel they get at home from their families, from their spouses. And that is why they like it's a known fact. Like people say, uh, कारीगर हमेशा मुस्लिम कारीगर की खूबसूरती अलग है, hai. But it's if you see Muslim women working, then now I'm not getting into religion here, but I'm just generally saying like that's a statement that's always heard, especially in our industry where it's like 90% or 95% of the karigars are Muslims. So women in return, mostly in a country like ours, they don't receive that kind of appreciation in return. That's my personal opinion. Many women who are studying art, they do that mostly to kind of fulfill their passion rather than building their career, and which they want to, but they can't. Like how Vrinda also said that when she wanted to pursue her career, she had to first think about the streets and how she's going to get back home, rather than thinking that I want to do music, I want to study music. That's not what they thought. They first thought ये आएगी जाएगी कैसे, और ये लड़की है और ये कैसे करेगी. So I personally feel these are the kind of you know challenges as women we face. And hopefully like we're getting into a more educated, like I see my workers giving education to their children now. They don't want their children to be labor, or their children to do the same kind of work that they've been doing, whether it's a domestic help. So going forward, I hope to see like all these challenges that they are facing, or they face right now, 10 years down the line they shouldn't be facing, or hopefully sooner.
Thank you so much. So it's kind of very heartening to see women facing a lot of challenge at workplaces, even in this 21st era.
Yes, well, I have women who come to work and they say that, ma'am, I have to go for an abortion, ma'am, I have to go for a surgery. So those kind of things are happening till date, even in an industry like ours. I mean, it's very glamorous to say we are working for the fashion industry, but this happens at the root level.
Thank you so much for the very good answer and enlightening us all with the problems that are being faced with by the women. So there are always people who inspire you to achieve greater heights. So can you share some of the women artists or women fashion designers who inspired you?
Someone who from the fashion industry who's really inspired me is Ritu Kumar, who's one of the pioneers of the fashion industry. She's someone who started the Fashion Designing Council of India, and I think she's someone who most of us know about. With the lack of education that she had in Amritsar, she's born and brought up in Amritsar, and she had no education. She still managed to reach where she is today at the age of, I mean, she must be around 70 plus. I'm assuming she must be around that much. She started her business in Calcutta, and in the 60s and 70s. Now that's the time where women were not even allowed to kind of step out of the house, or get educated or whatever it is. She still managed to reach where she is, and I think she's someone I really really admire. And I think there's another person I really admire is Amrita Shergill, for the kind of art she's brought into the industry, and the kind of recognition, and the kind of painting she's developed, and with the demureness and the uh, elegance that she has. She's someone I really really admire as well.
Thank you so much. So at the end, I would like you to ask, and how do you support the work done by JK Arts Foundation?
Well, I 200% support what Geeta and Akil, Tanvi, you all have been doing. And Geeta, I know, has had this vision for the longest time. Like throughout childhood, we've always heard that what she wants to do for the Kashmiri children and Kashmiri people. And she's, her culture, her grandmom, her stories that her grandmom has taught her and told her about. So she really had this vision throughout her life, and I'm so glad that she's doing it, because I know that one, art brings us and her especially a lot of joy, and it helps her express her values, the culture she's learned from her family, and what she's learned about her culture. So I think this is a brilliant way that you guys are taking forward, and you're kind of incorporating it and taking it to the next level with the foundation. And I wish you guys all the very best, and whatever support we can give you, we're here to support you guys in every which way.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are also very
Most welcome.
lucky to be working under the supervision of Geeta ma'am. We are really
Yes,
very lucky.
absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
Yes. Thank you so much once again. Thank you, everyone. With this, I hand over the mic to Mr. Akil, who will present the vote of thanks.
Yes, thanks Tanvir for hosting an important event today, and thank you for asking the urgent questions. The event was very informative. Needless to say, a comprehensive evaluation of the discussion is not possible given the time constraints. However, here are two key takeaways for me. First one is art isn't given the same level of importance as other subjects in our country. And second one is creative people don't believe in a setup. They want to be set free. It was so relatable to me, and I needed to hear these words reaffirmed by another person. So thank you, Chaitali. Uh, uh, and now, on behalf of the JKF and the audience, I would like to thank all the panelists for making the event very enlightening. I am very proud of all the women who took part in today's event and poured their heart out. Thank you for sharing with us your interesting and thought-provoking insights. I'm sure that all the participants have taken note of your suggestions and will try to act on them. As we stop the live broadcast, I request all the panelists to stay back for a very brief chat with the JKAF team. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would like to ask Geeta ma'am to please come on screen.
I would like to, first of all, I would like to thank Tanveer and Akil for doing such a brilliant job and hosting the whole session effortlessly. Your ownership towards your work is inspiring for me also. Also, I would like to say that women that you see today speaking on the panel have been my strength for the longest time. We have been together for, I think, more than decades now, and they have been part of my journey. I would like to say that every woman's success should be an inspiration to another. We are stronger when we cheer each other. And I'm so very grateful to each and every one who has joined us today. Building this organization has not been easy. It has been quite an adventure with fires raging every single day. But the support, again, what I mentioned, women whom you see today on the panel are with me since childhood. And I'm so happy that the support that I have received from them, and also the other amazing brilliant women in my life, be it my mother, be it my sister, be it my grandmother, has propelled my journey to bring meaningful impact. I hope all of you will become our strength to turn our mission to democratize arts and education for children, for underserved communities, make arts accessible for every school and every child, which is our mission, into reality. I hope this will not be just a one-off session. We will stay in touch and take forward our mission. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. We will cut the live broadcast, and if you guys want to stay back, you can stay back on the session with us. Yeah.
Yes. Anything you would like to ask us, because we have been asking so many questions to you, to all of you. So it's your turn now.
Has broadcast been cut off?
Just 1 minute. I've been facing this issue since morning. Just 1 minute.